Halloween is right around the corner, and what is a better way to incorporate it earlier than to play some spooky/cozy Halloween games prior to Halloween itself? The rule of thumb is to only incorporate survival games on this list, mainly because survival games are my favorite games of them all. And if you've been keeping up with this channel, I can only imagine that the very same applies to you as well. None of these games in any particular order. I very much admire all of them the same, so just keep that in mind and let's begin. At number 1 we have V Rising. Covered previously on this channel, this game is extremely satisfying and addicting at the same time. If you play Diablo and enjoy the overall system and progression of the title, you will certainly enjoy this one just as much. You play as, you guessed it, a vampire, and you build your own empire from the bottom up. As you collect resources and defeat your enemies, you must keep in mind that you are a bloodsucker, which means upon a daytime, the sun will no longer like you, and you will have to hide in the forest amongst the darkness itself. Level up, feast on your enemies, and build your own castle with warriors along your side. At number 2 we have Valheim. This is by far one of my most favorite survival games of all time. If the graphics don't scare you, the depth and detail here will blow your mind. You play as a Viking that has to relive his or her life through Greek mythology to a certain degree. As you collect and build yourself a settlement, the darkness will find you. It's inevitable. The building system here is extremely detailed to the core. As you explore, you will come across raids and battles you never thought were possible. If you were looking for a game where you relive your childhood dreams and fantasies in terms of fighting massive creatures such as trolls or flying-looking dragons, I promise you, this is your jam. At number 3 we have Citadel Forge with Fire. This is basically Ark mixed with magic with witches. You create yourself a character and evolve over time. You could eventually tame creatures that will fight alongside you. You can craft a broomstick and fly around its massive open world. Build yourself a castle using a variety of resources such as wood, brick, or stone, and uncover its mysteries as you make further progression in the game. This game is extremely underrated in terms of popularity and the player base, but if you ever imagine playing Ark Survival Evolved with magic spells and very Halloween-like, Citadel Forge with Fire has you covered, my friends. At number 4 we have Bigfoot. This is very linear in terms of what you can do and accomplish, but this game will keep you on your toes at all times. If you played Friday 13th with Jason chasing you around, this is very much the same concept except more polished, if you will. Now this one's barely scratching the survival genre surface, however I decided to implement this mainly for its vibes. I always find myself leaning towards this game in particular, especially during Halloween season. I don't know what it is about Bigfoot on Halloween. Maybe it's spooky atmosphere, I don't know. But either way, highly recommend checking this one out, especially with a friend or two. And number 5 we have Project Zomboid, the ultimate zombie survival game that will test its realism in every way possible. This is one of those games that does not make you feel like a superhero in terms of special abilities or giving your character a specific meaning. This title immediately lets you know that your mark on this world is just as good as your neighbors that died next block over. You can get trapped in the house, get eaten by hordes of zombies, die in a car accident even. The world in Project Zomboid is ruthless and realistic. You're not going to be running around with a pocket knife and killing hundreds of zombies. It just doesn't work like that. You could have an addiction or mental illness. Just like I said, if you're looking for that extreme realism during a zombie apocalypse, Project Zomboid will take you by surprise. And I will conclude today's list with number 6, which is The Infected. This is an open world sandbox crafting game where instead of going against your stereotypical zombies, you have to watch yourself out for vampires. The map has been rebuilt from scratch. To my understanding, it's actually a lot bigger than it used to be. The inventory system very much reminds me of Green Hell, if you know what that game is. However, the gameplay is completely different. Find yourself a permanent home protected at all costs. Find yourself a vehicle for more efficient transportation. Explore dark caves, mine ores, and craft better tools. Once again, although it sounds like your stereotypical survival game, the vibe here will certainly make you believe it's a spooky season outside of your window. And I think that's the main reason we're making this video in the first place, right? As I mentioned, this will conclude today's list. Happy Halloween, everybody. Thank you so much for being a part of my life. It's an honor to be a part of yours. I hope your holiday treats you very well. And as always, this was your boy Roos, and I'm out. Goodbye.